Hi, this is Ed from Musical Lessons, and today we're going to talk about Hey There Delilah by the Plain White T's. This was their third single off of their 2006 release, All That We Needed. It's also appeared on a bunch of TV shows, and it's a fun tune to play. All right, now I encourage you to check out the blog article on this tune because there's a bunch of useful links on there. For example, there's a YouTube link, there's a Wikipedia link if you want to learn a little bit more about the tune, and there's also a guitar tab link. However, I did create a chord chart for you that's included in this article. There's also a section on the song specs, which has, the usual stuff, the title, the writer's credits. But there's metronome markings, there's the chord progression, and there's a breakdown of the techniques that we're going to use to play this song. All right, so grab your guitar and we're going to take a closer look at this. I'll see you here in a sec. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to talk about the chords that are needed for this song. Okay, so we're in the key of D. We have all basically open position chords. We have the D chord, which is actually a D5 chord because we're not going to play the first string. So you do a two-finger version of the D chord. Fourth string's open, third string second fret with the first finger, and the second string third fret with the third finger. And you're going to play that D5 chord. Then the next is the F sharp minor chord, which is also, it's really just these three strings, the fourth, third, and the second. So I'm going to do a bar here on the third and second strings at the second fret, and my third finger is going to play the fourth string, fourth fret. And that's your F sharp minor. Now the trickiest chord out of the bunch, which is your standard fifth string root minor bar chord. It's a B minor. So here I'm creating a bar with my first finger on the second fret. My second finger is going to play the second string third fret. My third and fourth fingers are going to go on the fourth and third string of the fourth fret for your B minor. There's also a G chord. I really like using this version of the G chord where my second finger is playing the sixth string root. The pad of my finger is going to mute the fifth string. Fourth and third strings are open, and the second and first strings at the third fret are played with the third and fourth finger. And I use a bar for the A chord. So my open A chord is just going to be played with the fifth string open, and my first finger is going to play the second fret of the fourth, third, and second strings. So your chords are D, F sharp minor, B minor, G, and A. Okay, our accompaniment pattern is going to use a finger picking pattern. Now it's kind of this claw hammer thing. It's an old Americana technique. And really what you're going to do is you're going to use your index and your middle fingers on the second and third strings. My thumb is going to play the fourth string. And I'm just going to keep going back and forth in this eighth note pattern. So on the downbeat, my thumb is going to play, and on the upbeat, my index and middle finger is going to play together. So you're going to fuse them together as though they were one string. Now here I'm holding the D5 chord. And that would be a good exercise for you to get started with. If you want to get started with finger picking, this is a great tune to begin with. We're just going to stay on the fourth string. And then when I switch chords, I maintain that same pattern. So I'm just switching chords and changing the pattern. As I work my way through the other chords, my thumb moves, but my index and middle finger don't move. Okay, so you'll notice that when we take a look at each of the song sections that we're going to break down in just a second. The intro for Hey There Delilah is 4 measures. 1 measure of the D5 chord, 1 measure of F sharp minor, 1 measure of D5, 1 measure of F sharp minor. So it's just 4 bars, and we're using our finger picking technique to work our way through it. Now it's an 8th note pattern, but you notice that when we get to beat 4, I'm just going to play the thumb as a quarter note. So I'm going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Switch chords. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And that's your intro. The verse is 8 measures. The first 4 measures are the same as the intro. Now the big change comes in the last 4 measures, so we're going to break those down. Okay, so we come out of the first 4 measures, and measure 5 has the B minor chord. We're keeping the same finger picking pattern. My thumb now has moved to the 5th string, and on the 4th beat I'm going to do the 5th string open, so I get that sort of walking bass as I transition to the G chord. And then I'm at the G chord. Now my thumb has moved down to the 6th string. My index and middle still stay on the 3rd and 2nd strings. 2 beats on G, 2 beats on A. And I'm back to the B minor. And then a measure of A. Okay, so it sounds like this. The chorus is a 2-bar pattern that repeats 4 times. So it's really just going from D to B minor. The transition though between the D and the B minor is the open A string. Then the B minor to the D is the 5th string 4th fret, that's C sharp. Now what they do is they also add an extra measure of D at the end. So the chorus is actually 9 measures instead of 8. They do that to build tension and to create the transition back to the verse. All right? Bridge for Hey There Delilah. Now bridges are always a little tricky because they kind of sneak up on us. There's always a chord change and a series of chords that don't follow the normal progression that we're used to from the verse and the chorus. And here it's no different. This section is actually 10 measures long. It's a 4-bar pattern that repeats and then it ends on an A. They prolong this A to build some tension to bring us back into the next part of the tune. Okay, so we're going to start with 1 measure of G, 1 measure of A, 1 measure measure of D, 1 measure of B minor. And on the 4th beat of B minor, we're going to hit that open A string as a transition back to the G. On the repeat, we don't hit the open A string because we're going to go to the A chord. Okay, so again, my index and middle fingers are glued to the 3rd and the 2nd string. So here it is slowly. And we end with 2 bars of A. Hey There Delilah is a great tune for aspiring finger pickers and also singer-guitarists. It's an easy tune to get comfortable with singing and playing at the same time because of the steady right hand pattern. Okay, it's also become a crowd favorite and it'll be a great addition to any repertoire. I thank you for hanging with me, and I will see you here next time.